Chapter 75. A Necessary Battle. When Hanoch heard this request from the Father, outwardly as well as inwardly, he rose, and standing in front of Lamech, he began to speak. Brother Lamech, very important and highly significant are the words which the Spirit Zuriel has spoken to you in a human manner, and I cannot give you a better relevant word. Yet I know when the Spirit speaks in a human manner, but you do not know that, because you still adheres to the tongue and not the Spirit. And I therefore want to gently carry you over, according to the most holy will of our so very dear and holy Father, from the tongue to the Spirit, where you then yourself can look and understand how life in the Spirit presents itself. Therefore listen to me in your heart. Behold, when two winds blow against each other, where one is as strong as the other, a balance is thereby achieved in the air, and a pleasant rest prevails on the earth's surface. The air becomes clear and pure, and the sun's rays can unhindered enlighten the countryside and warm it up with its unclouded light. But if after the balance one wind is unexpectedly intensified, and its opponent becomes weaker, then the stronger one starts immediately to forcefully push forward, and in this way also mercilessly drags and shoves the weaker wind with it. But for as long the weaker wind here and there is attempting to master the more powerful wind, it must put up with being pushed and shoved around by the more powerful wind, until finally it is defeated. But if it gives up at once, then all pushing and shoving has ceased, but thereby also the existence of the weaker wind. You now say to yourself, yes, but why does the Lord allow this to happen? For him, the Almighty, it would be very easily possible to prevent such a battle. You're quite right, since for God are all things possible. But if he would not permit the forces to fight against each other, they finally would go limp and would lie dead on the ground, just like the stones of the mountains, which in and of themselves are nothing but such forces, but in the highest degree judged and bound, and therefore are immobile, and therefore completely dead and have no awareness. See? It is the same with the life of man. In his organs, it blows back and forth. The Spirit blows into matter and wants to drag it along. Matter, or the world, blows in matter as the blood and the other finer juices, and they in turn blow into the Spirit and want to carry it away with itself. If the Spirit is more powerful than matter, it urges it and makes it totally subservient to itself. But if matter conquers the Spirit, the spirit goes under, and as the actual life suffers severely and very painfully, continually carrying the most oppressive burden of death, and this is then spiritual death. However, if the spirit in such a death would become numb, it would thereby be lost forever beyond redemption. But the ever-increasing painful sensation of pressure forces it to continually defend itself and to fight matter. Thereby, however, its powers are exercised and constantly strengthened. And so, over time, it can also still become a perfect victor over its matter, and can, in this way, reach the freedom of eternal life. Just as the matter of the stone is crushed over time by the weight resting and suffering in it, and is finally forced to give way to the dissolved state, at which point this force then becomes free again, and one with the general force to which all matter is subject, which is also the case with the wind, since the defeated finally gains again victory over the former victor.